Provost, can I just raise something just before you move on to the next item? Unfortunately, once again, Councillor McLaren has got a political slogan on his screen, and I'll say it, reiterate, I've got no problem at all with the flag of our country being there, but having the word yes on it is quite clearly a political slogan, and it should not be allowed. I know it's on a screen, but it is basically in the council meeting, and it should not be allowed, Provost.
Well, I'm not there physically to ask him to remove it, so I can ask him, I can't make him do it. I hope you understand this, because we've been here before with a couple of political flags or slogans. So, Councillor McLaren, a formal request has been made for you to remove that flag or item that is behind you on the screen.
Thank you, Provost. I believe at the last full council meeting, Councillor Anne Dowling voted about wearing a scarf in the colours of the suffragettes to make a political comment. If it's okay for her to wear scarves as a political comment, then it's fine for me to have a political flag in my own house. Thank you.
Okay, this is clearly a subject that requires more discussion and more.
No, thanks very much for your intervention, Provost. That's greatly appreciated, but obviously we'll be having a discussion about how we can take this further. Thanks very much, Provost.
Thank you. Yeah.
Just for the record, the colours of the suffragette scarf that I was wearing is not a political statement in itself. It was actually members of the SNP administration that raised the word suffragette. So it wasn't introduced, oh excuse me, sorry. It wasn't introduced into the chamber by me. So I think his point there is complete bullshit, excuse my language, but how dare he bring other people... I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but how dare he, meeting after meeting, bring political input that's totally inappropriate to this meeting and then try to deflect onto the perfectly legitimate fashion choices of other members. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Anne Dowling. Councillor Devine.
I should just remind you, Provost, that when you asked us to take down the stuff and we did it as in retaliation to the councillor you've just mentioned, we took ours down because you asked us to take it down, and we did take them down, and now we're back at the same place again where you should request them. In my opinion, you should request Kenny.
I have. In case you missed it, I have requested.
No, I didn't miss it, but you were much more forceful when we put stuff up. You were much more forceful, and yeah, no, you know how I'm easily offended, and so was the council lawyer at that time. So I'll leave that with yourself and obviously with Mark. But you're leaving ourselves open to a lot of stuff that we can do if this is allowed to go ahead. Thank you again.
Just to be clear, for anybody watching this, I have requested that Councillor McLaren removes the flag behind him or the item behind him that is deemed unsavoury or not right by other members of this council. I am not there, I can't take it down personally, there's nothing I can do about it, and I've already said it's an issue that warrants further discussion, otherwise we're going to keep going back and forward like this all the time. So, yeah.
I think you should suspend standing orders, and I think the meeting should be reconvened.
No, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing that. Given that you as councillors are individually responsible for your own actions, that is not something that I would even consider doing. There are important items of business on this agenda today that needs to be discussed, and I cannot do that. Councillor Doig, and then Councillor Innes, and then I'm going to move on.
Thanks, Provost. I think we need to add some light to this conversation and discourse rather than heat. It's obviously the case, Provost, that apart from myself, every single other elected member in this chamber was elected in a party political platform. So, personally speaking, I'm very broad-minded and very relaxed if, Councillor McLaren wants to have a yes flag behind him, or indeed if Councillor Anne Dowling or Councillor Eddie Devine wanted to have a Labour slogan behind him. I'm very relaxed about that. I don't see how in any way that's offensive to anybody. And in fact, it's a wee bit concerning. There's kind of elements of totalitarianism creeping into this discourse, because you can disagree with someone with it being disagreeable. And quite frankly, I would have an open season so long as the slogan is not in any way offensive. If it's a political slogan, can I just point out, Councillor McLaren's flag is not party political. It's a Yes flag, movement flag. It's not an SNP flag. It's a Yes movement flag. It's no different to whether a member would wish to have a CND flag or a women's movement flag behind them. So can we add some light to this discussion? I'm a wee bit concerned about Tory and Labour members trying to shut down debate on this, because
No,
there's an element of totalitarianism beginning to creep into this discourse. Because fundamentally, if the Labour group wants to go down that road, we're all watching a very successful Labour conference in Liverpool. And who can honestly say here that at that conference the Labour Party, the UK Labour Party, are not trying to politicise the Union Jack for their own ends and claim it for their own? So I think we're on a very slippery slope here, Provost.
Can I just clarify, Andy, that the Labour Party weren't trying to shut down the meeting or the debate. They never asked for the meeting to be suspended.